Hello everyone and welcome to the final part of our E3 2018 predictions series with Rogersbase and Stealth. Yes, this is a part 3, so if you want to hear our thoughts on Super Smash Bros., go to part 1. If you want to hear our thoughts about other games, go to part 2. But this episode, we're going to talk almost exclusively about leaks. So, if you haven't heard any of the leaks and you want to be surprised come E3, we would advise that you click away from this video as fast as you can. But if you want to hear our thoughts about these leaks, then please stay. But let's get started.
I do think that we are going to get like a 2D Mario, whatever it is, announced, because like the 2D Mario team has been very, very quiet since Mario Maker.
For next year?
That's
yeah,
fair.
because
Yeah,
I feel like Mario Maker, 2D
Switch.
Mario, that's a giant holiday thing, and they might do that behemoth with Pokemon next year.
Yeah. Because what Nintendo loves to do, is release Pokemon and 2D Mario on the same day. They love to do that.
I feel like that's probably coming down the line too. And even 2D Metroid, maybe
that
the
team
that
has
makes
also been
Samus
quiet.
Returns eventually makes one. But I think for all those, it's probably too early.
Yeah.
I think if we get a Mario game this holiday, I think it'll be Mario Party. That's my prediction. We'll see a Mario Party announced at that.
And I want to bring up one last thing, and that is, it's Ocarina of Time's 20th anniversary this year.
Okay.
Could we see something? Because hardware reveals, I think it's too soon to get any Switch hardware reveals.
Okay.
But perhaps, the Nintendo 64 Mini could this time around be announced at E3 just because of the 20th anniversary.
Not at E3.
No.
It's not going to be an E3 announcement. The SNES Classic was announced like 2 weeks after E3 last year. This is definitely like we're just going to send you a press release.
Well, come on, guys. It's the 20th anniversary of one of the biggest games in Nintendo history, Ocarina of Time. Okay?
I certainly do not expect a new Zelda this year or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think wanting an HD Ocarina of Time remake is stretching it like really much. Like and a Nintendo 64 Classic, I see. Maybe
they could reference it because it was such a huge landmark game, and it's gotten so many different re-releases, ports, remakes, and so on. So maybe something regarding Ocarina of Time.
No.
Because I don't think they could go through this entire E3 without bringing up Zelda only in Smash. I think they need something.
I mean, I think people were pretty satisfied with the 3DS game, with the 3DS one that came out in 2013. I don't think people are clamoring for an HD version of that game right now.
Well, I mean, they could do like an Ocarina of Time stage in Smash Brothers to commemorate it. They could do like gold Joy-Cons. I just don't think it's going to be a game. I don't even think we're going to get like new DLC for Breath of the Wild. They already said that's done.
But I think we could get something Zelda, because it's just too big of a franchise. If they announce something Mario, they have to announce something Zelda as well.
I do want a 2D Zelda, that's for sure. Maybe not this year, but eventually, you know.
But next year, yeah. Like 2 years after. Yeah.
Like they've been pretty clear that like 3DS is really not going to be too much a part of E3, and like I do want to believe that they're doing like a Link's Awakening 3D, where it would be like on 3DS and Switch. I'm just not sure if they would reveal that at E3. I don't know, but I would go crazy for that.
I would sooner see Skyward Sword HD on the Switch before any of those Link's Awakening, because there's just too much work with an Ocarina of Time HD and Link's Awakening remake. I just feel that the Switch is perfect for a Skyward Sword HD remake, because one, Joy-Cons are essentially like Wiimotes, but much better, and it's a perfect way to make this beautiful game shine in full HD. Okay, looks like we forgot about one game, or especially an expansion, during the discussion with Rogersbase and Stealth, and that is the potential DLC or expansion pass for Super Mario Odyssey. And seeing that we have been getting some updates as of late, that being in particular the Dark Souls armor and the astronaut costume, you have a theory regarding what they are doing at the Mario team.
Yes, I do. Here's what I'm thinking. It's the fact that they keep updating us with these small little additions into the game, such as those costumes, such as the Luigi's Balloon game DLC, which is taking the internet by storm, because that game is pretty fun if you know what you're doing, if you're good at the game in general, and those flips and tricks. But I think this is their way of trying to keep the trying to keep people from forgetting about Mario Odyssey in order to get their attention for when the expansion pass gets announced. We don't know if there is going to be an expansion pass, but let's be honest, we would love for there to be one. There was one for Breath of the Wild. Odyssey has a ton of content as well, but we would also just love to see more content, more worlds, maybe even Isle Delfino added into the game. That would be great. It's just that we could see a potential Super Mario Odyssey DLC announcement at E3. It's not out of the cards. They talked about DLC for Breath of the Wild last year. It could happen again this year for Odyssey.
I see definitely Isle Delfino happening, especially since they teased it in that Japanese commercial. Nintendo, we know you advertised about it, so bring the goods to the table. Time for leaks, guys. Bye-bye to you who don't want to get leaked or spoiled for E3. And since Stealth has a lot of information, you can make the introduction for this one.
The rumor is that they're definitely working on a Star Fox racing game called Star Fox Grand Prix, as Roger alluded to. Will we see it at E3? I don't know. It's possible, but they're going to save something for the Game Awards, and that seems like a perfect Game Awards game for me. So I'm going to say that they save it for that.
Personally, I'm very disappointed if the project they work on is Star Fox Racing, because to remember, Retro is not rare. They're not able to put out a new game every year, and that's why Diddy Kong Racing worked. That's why Force Gemini worked. It's because it was one of many games, or actually one of multiple games launched in the same year. That's why it works so well for Rare. While Retro is putting out on average a game every 4 or 3 years. It's very close to the Zelda team. And if this potential has been in many ways wasted on a Star Fox racing game, a spin-off game, then I will be kind of furious, to be honest.
Yeah, they need to convince me why a racing game is worth waiting 4, maybe 5 years for. Like, seriously.
I don't see that as potential wasted, though.
Yeah,
I
I don't
see that
either.
as actually making a great Star Fox game for like the first time in a very, very long time.
I completely agree.
And like bringing that franchise to where it should be.
You saying that, though, and also the reaction of both the guys from Commonwealth leads me to believe that this is also not going to be at E3. I think they don't want that messaging. They want to find a time to reveal this, to actually show to people this will be good, as opposed to throwing that in there to basically get like eaten up by all these fans who are going to be like, what the heck are you doing to Star Fox? Like, I love Smash, I love all this other stuff. I don't think they want that. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be at E3. I also agree with Stealth. I think that is a 2019 game. I think we're going to maybe see it at the Game Awards. I do not even think we're going to see it anytime this year, maybe at earliest, like a direct near the end of the year. But I don't expect it.
I mean, it could be like a behind closed door
Maybe.
game for journalists and media. Yeah, but it's not going to be at the direct. But I mean, having Retro work on Star Fox is just crazy to think about. That, you know, it's going to elevate that franchise to a level where, you know, it's a joke now.
I also don't even think that would be a behind the closed doors kind of game, though, because this year they're handling E3 way differently. Like the way you have appointments and the way you're playing certain games for people who are just on the show floor. I really think that's going to be something they are going to completely hold close to their chest until late in the year or early next year. I firmly believe that. Yeah.
Well, the way I see it could be worth it is if it's a combination of a Star Fox combat gameplay style
Exactly.
fused with F-Zero. That would really sell a lot of people. That would give them, one, an excuse to not make an F-Zero game, because we know it will not sell. And two, it will be a revival of the true Star Fox gameplay that we all know and love, namely the on-rails gameplay style. And that is pretty much what you will have if you go for an F-Zero. But F-Zero, imagine the carnage with F-Zero, but where you can shoot your opponents.
I mean, I also feel like I agree with you that it's easier to sell a Star Fox racing game than it is to sell an F-Zero game. And I do think character-wise, there's a lot more characters to pull from a Star Fox than there would be for an F-Zero. F-Zero's always had those weird, bizarre aliens and stuff, which I like. I mean, I like F-Zero, that's fine. But I also feel like if you're going to try to sell it to a mainstream audience, Star Fox is maybe your best in, and then maybe throw in like Samus or Captain Falcon or Donkey Kong or something as like a guest character in it. But I don't think they're going to end up doing like a new F-Zero. Even with the trademark stuff, I think Captain Falcon is squarely in the Smash Brothers territory now. I think F-Zero as a franchise is honestly more tied to Smash Brothers now than it is to its own individual franchise, which I think is fine. Captain Falcon is basically the mascot of Smash Brothers, and that's totally okay. I think that's great.
I feel that there's no problem with this, and at the end of the day, we'll probably have two racing IPs from Nintendo. It will be Mario Kart or eventually maybe Smash Kart, because that's what they're building up to. Then again, I think that will be a 2019 reveal.
Yep.
See this happening this year. And then you will have the Star Fox Racing, if of course the rumor is true.
I like that all four of us are in agreement that this is a 2019 game, and then this is not something... Because I've seen so many people like, this is going to be a big E3 reveal. I'm like, no way is this going to be an E3 reveal.
This year is just too busy.
Exactly.
No, 2018 is already way too busy, and if you also have these third-party games, you need 1 month for the third parties. Like we had November last year, they will need a month for them, and maybe that is August. I feel like that's partially also July and late June, because we have Crash, we have Octopath Traveler, and speaking of the RPG again, I don't think we'll see anything from Monolith Soft this year. It's too soon for their new project. They've already shown concept art from it, so they don't really need to show anything else.
I agree.
Yeah, I think they're in like full dev mode right now. I don't think they're even.
I also think if we're going to see anything from Monolith Soft, it'll probably be a port of Xenoblade Chronicles X. I really, truly feel like we will get a port of that game if Elma's
And that's another
in
Wii U
Smash.
port.
Right, but again, I don't think it's going to be something that's like really going to be focused on for them. I think this is because Monolith Soft has been working in the background on a lot of big first-party games that people like don't really know about, but like they were working on Splatoon, they worked on Smash 4, they worked on Skyward Sword, they worked on Breath of the Wild. Like they have had a lot of hands in those pots, and I feel like this year for Monolith Soft, they're going to be dedicated to working on Smash Brothers. That's my guess. I think they're going to be doing a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff for Smash, and also maybe some cleanup stuff for Splatoon 2, now that we're getting all that new DLC. So I agree. I don't think we're seeing anything from them this year. I think their big debut developed game is going to be next year. Or seen next year. Maybe not even released next year.
Exactly, and then again, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 just came out half a year ago, so it's way too soon for anything new. They have DLC to get out.
Well, that we might see is like the story DLC for Xenoblade 2.
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
That'd be great. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
And actually, since this is the leak portion, right, of the discussion?
Yeah, this is the leak portion.
So, since we're talking about it, I mean, like, that data mine that came out about the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 story DLC being, like, all the characters you're back in the past, that it's, like, a completely new story. It's tied to the main character story, but it doesn't have Rex and Pyra as the main characters. I think that would be really interesting to see a full trailer for and a full reveal for. But that also feels like something that maybe they'll save for a direct later on down the line, and they don't want it to be completely overshadowed by the stuff at the C3. Especially if it's coming out in December or whenever they said it's coming
December.
out. So, yeah, December. So it'd be weird to, like, show that off now.
But I do think, like, part of that leak was, like, having Shulk as a blade. Like, revealing that would be a very hype moment.
Oh!
Yeah.
That would be so great.
Yeah, I'm so glad we have gotten that out. Okay, let's continue with the leaks, because the rest of the leaks are pretty much third parties. So, Stealth, you had a list of games posted on Twitter when it came to third parties, because we have already talked about Fortnite. That game would work perfectly with the Switch, because bringing the Fortnite experience on the go is something that everyone, I think, dreams at this point. And the same goes with Paladins, which has also been mentioned since we don't have Overwatch.
Man, shout out to Paladins, man. Like, they jumped on the opportunity they saw the Switch didn't have Overwatch, and they were just like, yes, let's seize our moment, guys. Let's get on that system right now.
So, what other games are rumored to be leaked? Because it's mostly third-party games that are coming to the Switch.
It is. I think probably the other biggest one on this list is Dragon Ball FighterZ. That's been rumored to be coming to Switch for a long time. Arc System Works has announced they're released over 10 games on Switch already. They're a huge Switch supporter. Everything new after Dragon Ball FighterZ is on Switch. So for me, it was only a matter of time, and like every question the developers were getting is, when is this game coming on Switch? When is this game coming on Switch? And so I think that's a shoo-in for release on Switch. The other games on the list are Monster Hunter, that was already announced. And then, like, I had to get this explained to me. There's this game called Killer Queen Black, and apparently it's this, like, there's arcade cabinets in, like, different cities, and it's big.
It's
Yeah.
really fun. So I actually
Yeah.
had the opportunity to play this about a month ago because I was in Chicago for ASEN, and it was just random that this happened to show up in this leak list because I had just
Yeah.
tried it out. It is really, really fun. It's like a mix of Joust 5v5. I don't really know the best way to explain it, and because it's arcade cabinets, there's not really like a lot of good footage online either, but it is a perfect Switch game. Like, hearing that this is coming to Switch is an awesome get for them. Both for like the indie developers, I think this is a great get, and also I just think it is an awesome multiplayer game. And I think this is going to do really, really well for them. So, good on the Killer Queen team. And the Killer Queen team's Twitter all is black now. Their headline and also their profile photo is completely black. So if that's not a tease for this, then I don't know what is.
I also heard about that Bethesda and Rockstar might be bringing another game to the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to Switch. I mean, it's on PS3 and the Xbox 360, so I don't see why it can't. And it's still selling like crazy.
It mostly makes sense because the Switch will obviously not get Red Dead Redemption 2.
No,
Right,
no.
right.
Yeah, and in terms of Bethesda, I can see Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 coming to the Switch. They just announced like Fallout 76, and that seems like it's gonna be like more like online survival. That wasn't announced for Switch, so I can see an older game getting announced from them. But what was interesting is like the last like 5 like EA Sports games like Madden have not been announced for Switch. This list has FIFA 2019, so that's actually nice to see. Yeah, and then like a really underrated game, but like it sold over 500,000 copies on Switch, is Overcooked 2.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved Overcooked. I played it with my friends. That game is just so fun and hectic. And I what are they even going to do with 2? They're
Yeah.
just going to create more insane levels and more insane characters. So hell yeah, it's probably going to cost like $20. So give it to me.
Yeah, and for that to sell 500,000 units on Switch that far after it was released on like every other platform,
Yep.
like people are hungry for that on Switch.
No pun
Literally
intended.
hungry.
Yeah.
Literally, no pun
I was
intended.
gonna say too, that game has done really well in Japan, oddly enough, as well. In terms of the
Yeah.
Western indie games, like that game did really well, and so did Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to also see the announcement of the Stardew Valley multiplayer stuff that's on PC coming to Switch.
Yeah, and one thing I've talked about that I think is really, really likely is Capcom will announce the Ace Attorney
Oh, yeah.
collections for Switch.
Didn't they already
this
announce
year.
that they're working on Ace
That'd
Attorney
be-
for Switch too? That's been announced already.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They announced that they're working on new games, but I think they're going to bring collections to Switch
Cool.
to kind of get people ready for that.
And then, of course, this Mega Man 11, that's coming out on the Switch. It could show up at the Nintendo Direct, maybe in like a third-party sizzle reel or something. But, of course, Mega Man 11, it's a big deal. It's going to be at E3 either way, because it's coming out this year, I believe, in October, November, I believe it was. But yeah, this is the first Mega Man game in like, 8 years? So, of course, it's going to get some traction. Mega Man Legacy Collection came out on the Switch. Mega Man X Collection's coming out on the Switch. Here's hoping there will be a playable demo of Mega Man 11 at the show, and hopefully on the Nintendo Switch as well, because let's face it, that game is just perfect for the Switch. It's 2D, it doesn't take a lot of power to run, and that's definitely going to be my system of choice when I get that game. And I know I'm not the only one here in this room who wants to get that game on the Switch first thing.
I think that pretty much sums everything up. I feel like Fortnite will be the big Rocket League announcement from a third party / indie, because we have the Epic Games making Unreal Engine 4, and they have been working
Right.
very closely with Nintendo, and they will make a big point of it,
Yeah.
of the cooperation and of course of the success of Fortnite. And it's finally coming to the Switch, so it will be in HD and running properly on a handheld device, so they will make a big point of it.
Yeah, and I feel like that would be another good game to sell Nintendo Switch Online, which is why I feel like it'd be more likely than Smash Bros. To release day and date with Switch Online, because, like Stealth said, Sakurai wants to work as long as he can on Smash Bros. And, like, even if that means waiting until October for it, I feel like Fortnite's another good substitute, because people love Fortnite. I have friends that play Fortnite on PC and PS4. They also own Switches. They're like, dude, I'd love to play Fortnite on Switch.
Yeah, and also with the online, like right before the online launches, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate is coming to Switch.
Which
like,
is awesome, dude.
yeah,
Like,
that's like the big online game. Yeah.
getting Monster Hunter, Dragon Ball, Fortnite, Killer Queen is just like an awesome get, a sequel to Overcooked 2. We already know we're getting the World Ends With You HD remix coming this year too, which like, I don't know about you guys, that's one of my all-time favorite games. And so to see that in HD with a new week's worth of content, my dudes, it's time. I can't wait. But, well, that's what I was going to bring up, is I think World Ends With You is a given. We're going to see more content from them, probably during their press conference. I think we're going to see a lot of Project Octopath as well, because it's coming out in July, so I think we'll see another trailer with those characters. And I've been saying this for E3s now, and I truly feel like it is time. If it doesn't happen this year, it's not happening. Final Fantasy 15 on Switch. I feel very strongly that game is still coming to Switch because of everything that they set up, whether it's the original version of the game or they're going to end up bringing out like that mobile version. Some version of Final Fantasy 15 is coming on Switch, and I think it's coming this year.
I think that could be a part of the big third-party month, and I think we'll have more of those on the Switch because that's the way you will sell third parties, and that's also how you will push indie games like Travis Strikes Again, which might also get another trailer in the Nintendo Spotlight at the end. Like, another question is Kingdom Hearts 3. Could that... No,
maybe next year.
Not now, maybe next year. Yeah, I'm not sure if Final Fantasy 15 is going to come, but I just have this strong... Something Final Fantasy is coming to Switch. I don't know what it is. Could be like a port of like Final Fantasy like 10 or 12 that came.
Dude, if we get... Oh my god. If we get a new Crystal Chronicles... Crystal Chronicles is one of my favorite games of all time. If we get a new Crystal Chronicles game on Switch...
Yeah.
He's dead.
Roger.
He's gone. Bye, Roger.
Please give us a new Crystal Chronicles.
That would be great.
One other thing, too, going back to the games we talked about earlier, like Fortnite, I'm going to make another bold prediction. I had the opportunity of going to South by Southwest earlier this year with Alienware. And one of the other Alienware ambassadors is this guy named Nico, who is a huge Fortnite player. While we were at South by Southwest, they announced and dropped Fortnite for mobile, where you could play it on your phone. I think that we are going to get Fortnite during E3. I think it is going to release after the Direct, and I think it's going to come out right away. Because that's what they did with mobile. I think they're going to do it again with Switch. And I think the way they're going to tie it in with the online stuff, maybe later down the line, is they'll release free DLC updates of like Nintendo skins for certain characters. That's my guess. But I think day and date E3, when they announce Fortnite, it's going to come on Switch. I think that's going to be their Apple announcement.
Oh, actually, with Fortnite, I think they could even put Mario, Breath of the Wild Link. Because, like, we have Thanos. We had Thanos.
I think there's going to be at least one of those where it's like, it just drops, the game just drops.
Yeah, and a good reason for it is that I think Switch players have waited long enough for Fortnite to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, here's this one game that is coming out right after this event.
And so concludes our E3 2018 predictions for Nintendo. Thank you, Roger and Stealth, for joining us. E3 is just a couple of days away, and we couldn't be more excited, so keep it locked here to Commonwealth Realm for some exclusive coverage and game footage and all kinds of good stuff we're going to be uploading practically every day that week. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell to know when we upload a new E3 video. We'd also like to thank our patrons, including royal producer Kenyatta Ali, for all their contributions to the realm. If you want to support us financially in exchange for some awesome perks, then visit patreon.com/commonrealm. In the meantime, girls and guys, this was the Commonwealth Realm, and we will see you soon.